Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing my January reading wrap up. So this video is going out a few days later than I wanted it to. I wanted it to go up on Sunday, but we had to miss an upload because I've not been very well at all. And just fatigued, but I've pretty much been in bed for 4 days straight. It wasn't great. But I'm starting to feel a little bit more like myself, so I thought, right, let's get this video filmed and get it uploaded. So yeah, it's a little bit late, but it's quite an exciting one. I had a really good reading month in January. I had 4 5-stars. 2 of them were rereads, but they stayed a 5-star, so that's still a win. I read 10 books in January. I hit the goal of reading 2 books on KU a month for January, which it would have been sad if I failed on that in the first month. So 8 physical books, 2 on Kindle, and I had 3 rereads actually. So let's go through yet again. So last year, the first book I read was a 5-star. And I am very happy to say the first book I read this year was also a 5-star, and it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This book, I never really write down reviews. My review is 2 pages, like 2 full pages, because I had so many thoughts. A lot of them I can't share with you without spoiling things. But this book has like stuck with me. I really want to reread it again and properly annotate it, because there was a few things I did put tabs in for. Not many, I think it was like 3. Yeah, I've got 3 random little tabs in there. So I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on this book. First of all, character-wise, I loved the characters. You really are, in some ways you kind of think Addie's a little bit she's asking for more than she can get, and in some ways you just think she's a bit naive, and I don't know, but you're also really rooting for her because the things that she has to go through, the things she's seen, but also the fact that she's going through the world alone. If you don't know what The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is, basically Addie makes a deal in which she is immortal, but the price for that is that no one will ever remember her. So no one she already knew in life remembered her. They all forgot her immediately. But anyone she meets going forward, as soon as she is out of their line of sight, she's out of their memory. It's heartbreaking because she's just completely alone. And as a woman in the 17, 18 and 1900s, how do you go about life? You just can't. It's so difficult. So yeah, you're really rooting for her, and it gets to a point where she's now staying alive out of spite, and I'm so here for that. She's so petty and so stubborn, and I love that. Then you've got Henry, who is another, obviously the whole book is in Addie's point of view, it's about Addie, but Henry is, I guess, another main character we meet, and he is just an absolute sweetheart. He's got his own struggles, he's going through a lot mentally, emotionally, and he's just a sweetheart. And because of something he does, I sobbed at the end of this book. I was to take away. I wish I'd filmed it. I wish I'd filmed a reading vlog of this book, because it was an emotional roller coaster the whole time. And then you've got Luke, who at first I didn't really think much about, and then towards the end I was like, listen, there is an alternate universe for this book if we're talking dark romance, where I would love to see what would happen there. But anyway, so I won't talk too much about it because a lot of it I don't want to spoil anything. But a big thing is you get a lot of character progression over the 300 years that you're following Addie. So the deal is brought about because she does not want to get married. She's a woman in the 1700s, so of course her only worth is to get married and bear children, which she is like, I don't want that at all. And so obviously this is why the whole deal is struck. But the irony of that is it seems she's looking for love the whole time that she's alive in any way, but maybe that's not because she's just looking for connection. I don't know, but it seems a little bit ironic that she didn't want male companionship at all, and now that's all she's looking for. What I will say as well, the way she puts her print on the world, the way she makes an impact on the world, is beautiful and really smart. This girl is so smart, is so cunning. She's just iconic, and I love her so much. And I think about this book a lot, and as I say, I had so many thoughts when finishing this book that it was 2 pages. I have never had this many thoughts about a book ever. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. 5 stars. There is sort of mentioned spice, but it's not like anything. So yeah. So now I really want to read pretty much everything V.E. Schwab has ever written. So I don't know what you're meant to start with first for her books. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments where I should start with V.E. Schwab's writing following this, because I just really want to read more. The next book was also a 5 stars. Can you believe it? And it is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This one, at first, I didn't think it was going to live up to the hype. The first 40% I was like, yeah, it's okay. It feels a bit Emily Henry coded. But I just thought, it's feeling like it's going to be insta-lovely. I don't know what the hype is about it. But do you know what? And I stand by, it is kind of insta-lovely on her end. On his end, he's been planning after her for 7 years. But on her end, she basically meets him and falls in love, and that's it. In a short space of time. And their actual interactions, there's not very many of them. So it is a bit insta-lovely, and I will stand by that fact. But it's really good. And the depictions of grief, I feel, are really realistic when you lose someone who is so close to you, someone who feels like this massive part of you who you've had so much of life with, and just not being able to really process it. It just feels really realistic. And the fact of, like, when you lose someone who is that important to you, feeling lost and not sure if the path you're on in life is the one you actually want to take, I just loved that part of it. One thing I loved, and again, like I said, this book was quite Emily Henry coded with how it was written, and the fact it was a romance but had other aspects to the plot, is the fact that the chemistry between the characters was so good. Their banter, immediately they just seemed to have this, I don't know, they were just so funny. I loved them. I loved their banter. So in The 7-Year Slip, a quick little synopsis. You're following Clementine, who's staying in her aunt's apartment that was being left to her, and that apartment is magical, and it slips back in time 7 years occasionally. Not every time you go in it, it'll just sort of happen at random, you can't make it happen, but at some point you step into the apartment and it's 7 years in the past. And through that she meets, I don't know if his name, it's spelled like Ewan, I-W-A-N, but so I don't know if it's Ewan or if it's Ewan, or I don't actually know how to spell it, like how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna say Ewan because it just makes sense to me that way. And Ewan staying there just so happened to have stayed there 7 years in the past, because he's the son of an aunt, he's the aunt's friend or something. So they meet, and then it goes from there, and I will leave it at that. But yeah, it was just really interesting. It was really fun. A bit sad at some moments, but yeah, I do really recommend it. It definitely lived up to the hype, for me anyway. Next, a very highly anticipated book for me. I read The Wingman by Stephanie Archer, and I rated this a 4.5 stars and a 3 chili pepper rating. Oh, while I think on. Oh, I gave The 7-Year Slip a 1 because it wasn't really spicy. It was barely spiced. Anyway, yeah, this one was a 3. Stephanie Archer knows how to write a spicy sports romance. So this book I've been really looking forward to, because at the end of the fake out, You find out, so basically we know Hayden and Darcy are friends. In the fake out we see Darcy a little bit, but she's going out with, I want to say his name's Kit or something like that, who is one of Hayden's friends. And at the end you can tell there's like chemistry, you can tell Hayden is all for Darcy, but at the end of the fake out, Darcy and Kit break up, and it's like, finally, okay. So this is friends to lovers, obviously hockey romance, and technically best friends X. So Hayden and Kit are friends the longest, but Hayden and Darcy were friends before Darcy and Kit were together. I'm saying Kit, I could be completely wrong, that's just what I'm calling him now. Hayden and Darcy have a slightly longer relationship than Darcy had with her boyfriend. It was a missed opportunity, okay? This is so good. It was so fun. It had me laughing literally from the first chapter. So the first chapter you're opening up with Darcy's on a date and she's asked Hayden to be there just as just in case she wants to like get out of there. And yeah, it's really funny. They have really good banter as well, I have to say. But it shows how long they've been friends and how much they care for each other. It's just so fun. So like I say, the beginning of this, you're starting with Darcy's relationship has ended and she has no idea where she's going because she's kind of put everything she wanted on hold for her previous partner. So now she's feeling very unsure, not sure what she wants to do, and so she's moved to Vancouver, and Hayden's basically said, stay with me while you figure things out, you know, we're good friends, I've got, you know, a plenty big enough apartment, let me help you out. You have Darcy deciding, right, I've been in a relationship since college, I've never had a chance to play the field, I want you, a massive playboy, Hayden, to teach me how to be a player. And he's like, excuse me, why? And so they kind of, it's a little bit of that teach me type of trope, which is fun, we all love that. So we have quite a bit of character development from Darcy feeling very unsure about herself to really her coming into her own because of Hayden's love and support. Even from a friendship standpoint, he's always absolutely adored her, always supported her, so it's just really sweet. I love it, it was so fun, and I highly recommend this series. This series is just such a good, feel-good, fun sports romance. I also read, accidentally, time just flew. I sat down to start reading it and read over 200 pages in one sitting. Just not like trying to read it, it just happened. So that shows. I flew through that book. Next I read Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is the second book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I rated this a 3.75 and a 2 chili pepper rating. This book's not even 300 pages, so it's a really quick, easy read. So this one you're following Wes and Ada. Wes is the brother of the girl from the first book. I have no idea what she's called. Completely left my head. He's sort of the middle sibling. There's the older brother, he's the middle sibling, and then the sister's the youngest, I believe. So he's the middle sibling of his family, and he's feeling like he really needs to prove his worth, prove he's able to put his mind to something and sort of do something with his knowledge, with his life. And in comes Ada, who is a designer. Well, should I say it does say she's a fledgling interior designer. But yeah, basically she kind of oversees the whole design process of this house that's on the Rebel Blue Ranch property that Wes is wanting to do up. Before they know who each other are, they meet on the night that Ada comes into town and they have a little kiss. And then the next day she's like, oh god, that's my boss. That's not good. I've just snogged my boss before work has even started, and she really needs this job to go well. So that's where we're starting, with Ada kind of being like, I don't want anything to do with you, you're my boss, I just need this job to go well, let's just pretend nothing ever happened. And meanwhile Wes is like, love at first sight, he thinks she's the most beautiful person he's ever seen in his life and he wants her. And that's kind of where it goes. So it was really fun, it was really cute. I wouldn't say it's anything to like write home about, it's not the most amazing thing ever. There was one scene where I was like, this is the most cringy thing I've ever read. And it was like, he like comes out of the bathroom after just having a shower and they bump into each other, and it's just really weird. I felt no chemistry. I felt uncomfortable. It was a really weird scene. So yeah, but aside from that, I did enjoy the book, so yeah. I am also really enjoying the continuation of the growth of the found family. Like, well, it's a mix of actual family and found family in this series, so I'm excited to see that continue. That's a big part of the book that I really, really like. Okay, next I read Off Track. This one I read in a TBR Jar Picks My Next Read video, which is up on my channel. I rated this a 3.5 star and gave it like a 1 chili pepper rating as well, because the one spicy scene there is, it's not that spicy, not that detailed, and there's just the one. So this one is a Formula One romance where both of them are F1 drivers, and she's the first woman to drive in F1. And to be honest, I've rated this 3.5, it's probably more like a 3. I did enjoy it, it was fine. It was very F1 heavy, and the romance I felt like was more of a side plot, more than anything. It talks a lot about sort of misogyny in F1 because it is a very male heavy sport, a male heavy career. It was very light on the romance. It was slow burn. I mean, it's like a little over, it's 360 plus pages. So it was a slow burn, but it got to a point where it was not even a slow burn, it was a nothing burn. And also you start off and he's got a fiance, which I didn't feel very good about. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good, if you like F1 romance, I would recommend it. Especially because this has a lot of F1 in it, if you, I don't know, really love F1. But I wouldn't say it's the best romance book I've ever read. Okay, the first reread of the month. I reread Fourth Ring and I have annotated it, and I think that my colour scheme looks kind of cute. I quite like it. Yes, obviously Onyx Storm came out in January, so I had to reread Fourth Ring and Iron Flame. The reread was so fun. I rated this 5 stars the first time I read it, it's still a 5 stars. I loved seeing all the little hints that Rebecca Yarros has put in for things even that you don't find out until the end of Iron Flame. And I'm sure now I've read Onyx Storm, I'll find things that are hinting towards things in Onyx Storm as well. This book is so fun. I love the setting. I love how you just get straight into it. Immediately you connect with Violet because she is really kind and really strong, and she's just a badass. I'm sorry, but like, she is constantly in pain and she just deals with it. So she's so strong. And everyone's like, oh, but you're so fragile. Like, no, she's really not. She's really, yeah, physically, yeah, her bones are probably coming out of sockets more than they should be, or breaking easier than they should be, or whatever. But because of that, she can just deal with it and fight through it. She's amazing. I love her. Obviously, Violet and Xaden's romance. It might be my favourite in this book because this is them at the beginning of them getting together. There's the anticipation, there's the tension. It's so good. Their first kiss scene, for God's sake, is maybe my favourite first kiss scene ever. It's so good. I actually want to reread this book just because I was flipping through quotes and it was making me really want to reread this book already. Again. So yeah, I mean, obviously you probably know what Fourth Ring's about, but you're following Violet, who is she's trying to get into the Riders Quadrant. She wants to be part of the Scribe Quadrant of Basgiath War College, but she's being forced to be a rider. So basically it's the most dangerous part of the college you could go into, it's the most dangerous profession you could go into. Basically people die every day in the college and in the real world when you're out of the college. And it's basically her just trying to survive. And it's so good. It's so good. I really recommend everyone pick up this series if you haven't already, but maybe leave it like a year or so before you start. Just don't read it just yet. Trust me. Anyway, obviously that means I also reread Iron Flame. I also annotated this one. Probably not quite as much as Fourth Ring. I'm not great at annotating, okay? Again, rated it a 5-star the first time and a 5-star this time. This one, slightly spicier, I would say, than the first one. I forgot to say, I've rated Fourth Wing a 2.5 chili pepper, this one a 3. Again, just loved seeing all the little hints in this one especially. There's probably more hints for the end of the book throughout it. A lot of people when this first came out felt the back and forth between Xaden and Violet was annoying, it was too much and it was overdone. I never felt it the first time, and especially not this time that I'm reading it. It doesn't feel like too much really at all. It's not even a miscommunication, it's just they both have things that they want that they kind of give each other, essentially. And it's fair enough because of the situation they've been put in for everyone's safety. So I understood it and I don't mind it at all. And I like how the world's expanded in this one. So obviously in Fourth Wing you're just pretty much at Basgiath the whole time. This one we're exploring a little bit more of the world, a bit more is opening up, which I enjoy. I feel like in terms of world building and lore, you're given a little bit more each time. So you get time for everything to sort of settle in your brain and know what's happening. But yes, anyway, all of that was leading to Onyx Storm. There is a reading vlog of Onyx Storm with a tiny bit of like footage of me rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. The reason I'm telling you don't read Fourth Wing for another year or so is because of how long we're waiting for the 4th book. Because you'll read this, get to the end, and think, well, first of all, it's the Klaus meme of him shouting Rebecca. That's what's going to be going through your mind the whole time. But there is literally such a cliffhanger. It basically I don't know how I'm going to manage. I mean, I want Rebecca to take her time and make the 4th book as masterful as I know she can make it. And so I want her to take her time with it and make it perfect. It's just going to really hate in the meantime that I'm going to have to keep seeing theories and having these questions running around my head and I have no answers and I don't know when I'm going to get answers. And I might not even get all the answers because this is going to be a 5-book series. So I obviously won't talk much about it because it's the 3rd book in a series and there's a lot of spoilers. But again, this one especially, the world's opened up a lot more. We're getting a lot more lore of the wider world and a lot more information about it. I think a lot of people felt like, oh, there's a lot of information going in at once here. But there was a lot of new names and a lot of new people, I won't deny that. But also a lot of people were seen in Iron Flame and people apparently didn't pay attention to those names. So I didn't feel lost at all reading this. I literally finished Iron Flame and went straight into this. So I'm quite lucky I didn't feel lost. I just got to enjoy the whole thing. But yeah, I was heartbroken. I'm surprised I was not sobbing at it though. That's the only thing. So I did rate it a 4.5 and a 3 chili pepper rating because I hoped this would destroy my heart and soul and leave me sobbing, and it didn't quite. But I think that's because I was so confused and just questioning why over and over again in my head, or saying what is going on, that I didn't even have time to emotionally accept everything that was going on. So yeah, anyway, there is a reading vlog if you wanted to watch my reactions. It is spoiler free, there's a spoiler section at the end. If you're interested, it's on my channel. Anyway. Okay, on Kindle I read To Catch a Firefly by Emmy Sanders. This one I saw because Larry Reeds talked about it and said it was really good. So I downloaded it and just waited until the point where I was ready to read it. So that was this month. This one I've rated a 4.5 stars, a 3.5 chili pepper rating for spice because the first 50%, very innocent, very wholesome. The second 50% is a lot of smut. There's a lot of it. So be prepared for that. But it's smut, not in a lusty sense, like it is lusty, but it's coming from a place of love and longing, and so it feels romantic in some ways. So it's not just smut for the sake of smut necessarily. Anyway, this book has made me believe in love again. Just plain and simple. It's childhood friends to lovers. It's a romance, so both love interests are male. And it's basically just the connection that Lucky and Ellis have throughout this whole entire story it's beautiful, because you've got Ellis, who is on the autism spectrum, and he's not non-verbal, but he prefers to not really speak. He will if he needs to. He's better with like writing his words down. It's just physically speaking he struggles with. But the way Lucky understands him from the get-go of them being kids when they first meet, it's just gorgeous. They have their whole like teenage years of just really getting to know who each other are and understanding each other, and they have this connection of two people who know and accept and love every single part of each other. And the fact that they don't even need words to communicate, it's gorgeous. I love them. They are truly a perfect match, and it just made me believe in love again. They were, I can't explain it more than that. It's not really got a plot. It's more of a character-driven story, and you're just following their lives and things that happen in lives. And yeah, one thing I also really loved is when they were young, because they meet when they were like 9 and 10, when they're boys, so there's no romantic anything going on, just friendship, just them as kids. They don't have that voice in their heads that tells them, or this belief in their heads that tells them that touching another person, like another boy, is wrong. So they comfort each other, they'll hold hands for comfort, they'll give each other a hug for comfort, and they just have, like, they have this affection for each other that, like, when the other needs comfort, that girls can give each other, because girls aren't brought up being told it's wrong, because it's not wrong. And a lot of boys are taught that, even though it's not wrong, they should be allowed to give affection freely if that's what they want, if that's what they're comfortable with. So they don't have that in their heads, so they just give each other affection freely, and I love it. It's so, so sweet. Like I said, this is even before they start feeling any romantic feelings for each other. This is just two boys who love each other platonically, who are really close and find comfort in each other when they're upset or something bad's happened, and it's just really sweet. It's really wholesome, and I love them. And then the last book I read was also a reread. I read Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton. This one is an interesting one. So I reread it because I was going to read the second book, Pretty Rings and Broken Things, but I didn't know who the characters were, and it's interconnected standalones. So I was like, okay, I'm going to reread the first one. And I rate this a 4.5 stars the first time I read it, and I'm rating it a 3.5 stars now. It's gone down a whole star rating, and I don't think, not that I've ever really reread anything, but I'm really surprised by that. I did give it a 3 chili pepper rating on the spice, because it is decently spicy. I loved Beck the first time I read this, and the second time I've read this, I'm a little bit disappointed by him, because to be honest, he lied for literally no reason. And he was a little bit too much sometimes, and for reasons that was just stupid. I don't know. I just didn't love him as much this time, and I honestly just feel that the lies were just really childish, immature, and unnecessary. So it did bring it down a bit. I did still enjoy it. It was fun. I love a good billionaire romance, but yeah, I was a bit disappointed by it, I'm not gonna lie. I do still love how obsessed he is. He is the epitome of boy obsessed. It's great. We love it. We stan. But he needs to rein in this view that he has to like manipulate everything. I don't know. Especially because the whole time he's like, yeah, this is going to be a fake engagement. But the whole time he's acting like it's real. He's not hiding the fact that it's real for him. I don't know. So yeah, I am continuing the series, but I'm just, yeah, unfortunately the rating went down by a full star, which is surprising, but anyway. So yeah, those are the 10 books I read in January. I'm already very behind. It's February now, obviously, and I'm already very behind on my reading because I've not been able to really read. I haven't been able to concentrate on anything. All I've been able to do is lie down and kind of just have something on the TV in the background and to not really pay attention to it. Gilmore Girls was my show of choice because it's a comfort show. I've seen it before, and I could just kind of lie there and just feel like death, and it wouldn't make me feel anxious or panicked or anything. So yeah, it's been a weird beginning of February / end of January, that is for sure. But we have some very exciting books I want to read this month, so I am looking forward to my February reading. pigs? I don't know. Anyway, yes. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.